Yep. Okay. So first of all, I'm really following your talks and your audios and this
Okay.
forward skill, and it's really impressive. And although you are playing with, you're walking on thin ice at a lot of places, but still, it's awesome.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay.
Coming to that point, actually, I was, I was listening to your talk, and you're talking a lot about Industry 4.0.
Yeah.
And being an engineer and sitting in Europe, and like obviously, I'm working with a lot of companies as a business development manager, as a sales head, and now as a project manager. So these are like now I have joined a full time. Before I was freelancing, and so I have like a first-hand exposure of the companies like Rolls-Royce, companies like Siemens, or which are going for Industry 4.0.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
so for me, the only thing was like everything has changed now. Everything after this pandemic, things will not be
Uh,
same. Um,
no.
so the future of IT, the future of AI, yes, usage of AI, it will change. So for
Mm.
me, I wanted to have this small discussion because I know that you have a lot of insights for the first topic, and
All
second, I might have more insight. First is how this pandemic will change us our culturally, religiously, and
right.
politically. This
Okay.
is, I think, your area of strength. And second
All
is
right.
I wanted to talk about the future of AI. Will robots take over the world? It's like one of the simplest question, but this
Okay.
will is where we will go somehow. So as this is somehow a really like discussion, so I would really like to know your thoughts how this pandemic will change us.
Okay. Uh, well, coming out of this pandemic, the first thing and the foremost important thing is the dynamics that actually led to this sort of situation.
Hmm.
All right. And we have some some big guys who have been talking about these sort of pandemics for years now, for the past last 1 decade, since that book actually got published back in 2008, where one of that lady actually she doesn't enjoy that much of a good reputation. I've done my own research, but yeah, she just mentions over there that there'll be a pandemic and the world won't be ready. Then Bill Gates comes in and he tells us in a TED talk back in 2015 that look there will be
Hmm.
a pandemic and we are not ready for that.
Hmm.
Now, thing is that this pandemic, I'm not going to get a bit skeptical here, but yeah, this is my opinion. This pandemic, either it is actually been enforced on us or the nature is taking its own toll,
Hmm.
whatever the circumstances be. But let us just look at the immediate beneficiary of this pandemic. I mean, everybody is locked down. You are in a lockdown. I'm quarantined here, and we basically usually used to actually get socialized in physical manners. We'd be going to some clubs, we'll be going to some parties
Hmm.
and getting socialized, and we were daily physically, sometimes riding our vehicles or taking a walk and going to our offices. And this sense of availability of another human being on a physical
Hmm.
contact is very critical for me as a human being myself. You
Hmm.
see, this virtual connection, whatever we are having, me and you, we are like thousands of kilometers apart right now, and we can see each other. But tell you what, we can't feel each other. Yes,
Hmm.
you can. Me and you, we both can take a look at our facial expressions. But when it comes to our physical proximity, if you are in my physical proximity right now, maybe hardly like 5, 4, 6 feet away from me, a yard or two, yes, the connection that we can have then while having these sort of discussions, this virtual network cannot replace it.
Hmm.
So,
True.
one, we have been locked down. Two, somebody has suddenly opened a window that see if you cannot work at your office together,
Hmm.
stay at your home, use all these facilities that we can offer. I won't be naming anyone. We all know them. We are using one of them right now,
Hmm.
and we are going to sell you that. So those companies who have all these solutions, usually the people would go to these companies previously by choice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they would go by choice. Okay, we may have a meeting with our office in another continent or maybe another country, maybe in another city. So instead of just just going to that particular place, let's have a video conferencing. So
Mm-hmm.
the usage, the utilization of these products or services was very much limited.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, on the other hand, we are not left with any choice. It's
Mm-hmm.
the only way we can get connected. We can do. I mean, you're doing a lot of work from your home right now. How you're doing it, using all these mechanisms, these
Mm-hmm.
options that you have been offered, and still the strange part is that everybody is trying to pay their honor to those people who are in trouble. They're trying to help them morally. They're trying to help them, especially financially. There are big concerns here in our part of the world who are actually donating a lot of money and they're using their whole machinery to work and help the government out and in your part as well. But why these tech giants are not showing any empathy? Why the company A is still charging the same amount what it used to, and rather they have extended plans now. They have extended options for the offices now, but they are not actually lowering down their what we call the price plan. So what's going on here? You know that people are going to come to you. Why are you milking them? I mean, I don't know if I'll be having some money after a week because I'm not earning as much as I possibly could. You see, and there are scores of people who have gone jobless and they have been
Mm-hmm.
told to stay in their home indefinitely, and nobody knows when it all gets over. So the first and the foremost important thing is who is the immediate beneficiary, and immediate beneficiaries apparently are the tech giants, and this is not going well.
Well, I will add one thing here. Actually, unfortunately, most of us, like you said, we were doing it just for fun or for choice. It was not imposed on us that we should use this
Yeah,
remote contact. So what happened? That same, like being like on the tech side, I will let you know that. For example, the cloud services. Are
yes,
already overwhelmed. In the cloud, they have to accommodate people now. For example, especially in the firewall section, in the VPN section,
yeah,
they are
yeah,
already they are already overwhelmed. So what happens here that I obviously it's their season. What they're doing, like e-commerce people and these tech giants. But slowly somehow a lot of companies, a lot of people, they forgot to pick up the pace. As the history shows, when
yeah,
companies started moving to cloud, a lot of Pakistani companies, a lot
yeah,
of our companies, they were really slow. They are still using the traditional,
yeah.
infrastructure.
I
So
agree.
and they were not thinking that they have to do it like all of a sudden. Um,
All right.
I can give
Yeah.
you example of our some of our banks or some of our like main
Yes,
companies.
I agree with you. I agree
So
with you.
in Europe, a company was already like partially transferred to cloud already. So they were working on cloud. They were on the way to go. So they
Yeah,
have to put minimalistic effort to just go it completely out there because it was just like a jump. For us, for a lot of companies,
absolutely right.
we have to go.
Absolutely right.
We have to go almost jobless. I will not mention those like certain companies, but like I worked in some companies and they're working so traditionally that they are
Yeah,
using like a lot of human efforts, a lot of paperwork, like literally paperwork. um, um,
exactly right.
I I
You're
haven't
absolutely
printed
right.
anything for the past 2 months. So it means
Awesome.
I'm going
This
digitally.
is news for me. Somebody who's sitting in this part of the world. Yeah, he's big news. How can you even survive without just getting the paper? But you are. You see.
And there are contract signing. There is, I don't know, everything is happening online. So there are digital signatures. There are.
Blockchain, by the way, has made it more convenient to go for a digital contract. Yeah,
Mhm.
blockchain has changed things over. You don't need a piece of paper to go and get the contract signed. Don't worry. The blockchain technology will help you out to secure it and be what I would call the middleman, the previous middleman, and the blockchain will be the guarantor of your uh, your
So
context and whatnot.
exactly, for example, one of my best friend, he is working like he's working on cloud. He is also a blockchain expert. But issue is in Pakistan we were not doing it. We were not going for cloud. So all of a sudden, when this pandemic
Mhm.
hit us, one of my talk was like, it will change not only economic trends, also social trends. The things we used to do, the things
Okay.
we used to enjoy will not be anymore, because what will happen, this will take 2 years until we might get something, vaccine or
Mhm.
something, and then it will take 3 to 4 further years until we will
Yeah.
be back to square zero, we'll back on economy. Because like you discussed about the Bill Gates had the recent talk, like if you following the TED talks, 2 weeks ago Bill Gates were invited again or TED Connect, and
Yeah.
he said the same things.
I've viewed that video too. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then they invited the CEO of Gavi, who is who's making vaccines, who is
Yeah.
this the guy who helped us in fighting MERS or SARS, or
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
these guys are saying minimum 18 months are required to get the vaccine, and then after 18 months, obviously, we will be in real big economic crisis. You will forget 2008. During this
Okay.
18 months, it will not only change the course of our financial infrastructure. What will happen
Yeah.
socially? The society like Pakistan, the society like
Yeah.
Europe,
Yeah.
which like Europe want to have their fun and activities and clubbing, and Pakistan want to meet each other, greet each
Yeah.
other.
Yes, 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 yes. Honestly speaking, for the repercussions are severe. Honestly speaking, when it comes to the social contact, either it is Western nations or it is the South Asian nations or Asian nations, wherever you go, all over the globe. Yes, and you know what? The problem is that we humans will hardly take 21 days to actually, uh, we are flexible enough to change into something new altogether. It will take 21 days to 90 days. And there
Hmm.
are phases. The phase one is 21 days.
Hmm.
Point state of mind, and then you come back again and you're like, okay, fine, it's the metamorphosis. This is my new reality. So we are actually not talking about a new an old reality coming back to us after 2 years. We are basically talking about something new that maybe me and you don't even are not even able to define. Okay, but
Hmm.
let us just give, give it a topic that let us just call it digital life world. All right,
Digital.
as maybe Suskin puts it. Just give me a minute, Kuram. I think I'm having trouble with my earphone. So hold on a
Hmm.
sec. Okay, just another few seconds. Yeah. Okay. For the sake of check, you can hear me,
Yeah.
yeah?
It will take 2 years to adjust it into this new reality. Don't worry, we have time.
We don't really have time, by the way. Let me be very straight. You know what kind of what kind of a species we are. We just got our own hands and we gave it to the people who are actually just trying to frame stuff, and we are not even realizing that we are being framed. That's basically what worries me, and it's a big worry. Honestly speaking, it is a big worry.
No,
Let me
what
be
do you
very.
mean? What do you mean by being framed?
You see, hello.
Yep. Hmm.
Okay, you know, we had capitalism. We didn't have, yes, we did have it.
Hmm.
And what exactly the capitalism was all about, it was all about oil, resources,
Hmm.
okay? Because the
Hmm.
machines were running with the oil. And everybody would like to control the oil, and they would be controlling that part of the world at least.
Hmm.
Now, the commodity that actually
the whole powers or the governments or this new nation state system actually is going to go for, it is not aisle anymore. It's data.
It's
It's
data.
the
Yep.
data that is integrated all over the world, and people are very, very conveniently sharing it
with everybody, and how we are doing it. Now, this is something very strange that we are doing. I'm sorry, I was just fixing it up, but yeah, I was just continuing. All you can see me now?
I can see you.
what exactly is happening. You see, it's all about data right now. It's all about patterns. We human beings have always been very significant. And why we were significant? Because we have this patterning instinct. We can find patterns in things, and we can find them quickly. On the other end, we can not just find them, we can equally do another thing. And that thing is we can build new patterns as well. That's basically how the storytelling and the story making works for us.
Mm-hmm.
So we have this whole machine learning thing going on. Image recognition is there, the voice recognition is there, it's getting better and better. And
Mm-hmm.
all these tech giants, what they're doing, they're just mining the data. That's it. Who is providing? We are providing. Let me give you an example, and then I'll be closing my viewpoint for now. Thing is very simple. Those machine learning algorithms have been working very hard, but they couldn't actually get what they should have been getting to know us to the basic level. This is a panic situation. And the way people have been sharing on the social media right now, they've been sharing a lot of audio messages. They have been sharing a lot of text messages. They've been sharing a lot of videos, and they've been watching a lot of videos, how to save themselves, how to protect themselves, what to do with the pandemic, and this and that, and a lot of news. And 99% of the news that are being generated here on all mainstream media are false. You cannot be sure about what is happening. Seriously, there are no facts out. So what we did, these machine learning algorithms are now learning that when human species is scared or panicked, they react like inhumans. Okay? And that's their weak point. Now, are you getting my point or not? That's their weak point. So if we go into a digital dystopia, which very much seems to be a fact, honestly speaking, we'll be discussing about this a little later as well. But when we go in 10 years from now into the future, we have these very advanced machines. There are three levels of artificial intelligence. The artificial intelligence, the narrow artificial intelligence, the weak artificial intelligence, of course. And then we have a broader artificial intelligence, so we can call it artificial general intelligence. And then there is another third level, and that is called super intelligence. Now, what exactly the weak artificial intelligence is? The spam function in your email is an option. It's an example of a weak AI system that basically hunts for the keywords and puts the email into spam because it's irrelevant to you. When it comes to AGI, now we are talking about a system that is smart enough to help me out in taking decisions. Now, mind you, I'm saying help me out in taking decisions. And by 2045 we go into super intelligent systems, now we are talking about a system that takes decisions on my part and directs me to do what they want me to do. They're smart enough that they have surpassed human level consciousness. They have surpassed the human level intelligence, and we don't know what kind of intelligence that is going to come on our face. But as soon as I knew about this pandemic, I knew it is not going to be contained in the region. It is going to spread out in the world. Everybody's going to be locked down because this is the best way to get the data. You have nothing else to do when you're staying back at home instead of just watching the videos, or even if you're working from home. So we are going for a behavioral reconditioning. We are going for an intellectual reconditioning. And you know what? Who's helping out everybody with this? Us. And that is basically what. Please.
So, by closing the first topic, so with this behavior and intellectual reconditioning, first of all, I will shortly mention how it will what it will mean to us in political point of view. So at the end of the day, the democratic governments, or the pure democratic governments, are kind of failing because the measures they have to take, like this, drastic measures, they can't take because of certain issues. On the other hand, there are like countries like China or where we have monarchy. They have they are keen to they're like they just they can just take measures because so somehow somewhere the world will be going in that direction where our personal freedom, our this freedom of speaking and everything will slowly be taken away. For example, even during this lockdown, even you can say it's really beneficial for us that police is out there in Pakistan. They're stopping us to go out and stuff like this. But after 21 days, um, they will think that it's their job, and we will think that it's their job that they can stop us. And after 2 years, the things will change. The sense of freedom we used to have, we will lose it. We will lose it inside us that we are not free anymore, even though pandemic will be gone. And this power which we carry with each other right now, we will eventually give it to someone. So this is one of the thing I'm afraid of will happen after some years. Even the borders which were opening, they are closed, and a lot of countries which always wanted to do this, they are slowly they are kind of doing it now. Like in Europe, like
Yeah,
I cannot cross border anymore.
yeah,
It's this
yeah,
thing is
I think we're
over
having
for
some.
me. Hmm. Yeah, now
Yeah.
we are back
So
again.
can I add something here? I just want to add something here, if you allow me to,
Hmm.
please. You know, the word freedom itself, where exactly it comes from. Freedom is where there is oppression, and let me be very clear that we are heading into a digital democracy now. Okay,
Hmm.
if you go through a wonderful book, I recently read the book, and what a time I just found it. It's called Future Politics by Jamie Susskind.
Hmm.
I will share the book with you. I've got the
Sure.
copy with me. But
Okay,
the
perfect.
way that guy actually has portrayed the future of the politics and how it is
Hmm.
going on. Now, you talk about China. China is envisioning an AI-based, AI-driven economy of worth $150 billion by 2030. And
Hmm.
China has already taken what I would call an edge when it comes to technology over the United States of America, the so-called superpower. I'm calling the geopolitics a so-called superpower because we are on a neutral ground right now where we see that the China is going to take over the world and the US is about to let go of it.
Hmm.
Why? Because everybody was talking about this fourth war or third world war. Everybody had been talking about this third world war. But seriously speaking, we're looking at the World War, the Third World War, with a point of view that we are going to actually have a repetition of World War II with the same weapons, the strategies, and the same thing, and everybody's going to suffer. No, the Third World War was always destined to be fought in virtual world. It was
Hmm.
never to be a real world affair. And honestly speaking, yeah, I am going to be audacious enough right now to proclaim that the China has already won that Third World War. And there are people, scores of people, still believing that we are going to go for a head-to-head collision between two so-called superpowers in a conventional way. No way, not at all. The World War already started back in 2012 when the neural networks were the first time introduced, and China got all its resources actually dedicated for that technology. Where USA was still struggling with the world affairs, the Chinese had their Sputnik moment, and they right now own it. You know what? As per my understanding and observation in the research that I've done, USA is at least a decade behind China, and they're just following their trails. And just imagine by 2030, where China is right now in 2020, if USA approaches that particular vantage point in 2030, where China will be. So they've already gotten this edge, and they seriously have gone ahead of them. And yes, now let's talk about the dynamics. Let's talk about the digital democracy. Let's talk about the digital economy. And here I would just bring a well-known author. I mean, I really got that was the guy actually. His book actually just triggered everything off back in 2016. Homo Deus by Yuval Noah Harari. And Harari has always been very skeptical about what was happening back in 2000 uh, 13, 14, 15, 16, and he's got like three books. Okay,
Hmm.
Homo sapiens, then he's got Homo Deus, then he's got 23,
Yep.
21 for
Hmm.
21st century.
Yeah,
So
I'm reading Homo sapiens at this time. I'm like in middle of it.
it's a wonderful book. I'm sure that you must be on a different level right now. Seriously, it takes you way away from where you are. Okay, so yes, he said that the coming age is going to be of gods and chimps,
Hmm.
and literally I'm not paraphrasing. Anybody who's already read it, if they're watching the video right now, yes, he wrote the same words. The coming
Hmm.
age is of to be the gods and the chimps. And you know who are the chimps? Chimps who are putting on their videos on YouTube of doing some what I would call some insane things. People who are using TikTok, those who are putting the videos on, and those who, you know what's happening around. It's so easy for any tech giant to get the whole imprint of my facial system, my facial structure. Just imagine I am going to put my face on a social media or through this TikTok called apps and
Hmm.
the apps of this genre. So what exactly is happening? Somebody is actually collecting the data and somebody's trading the data as well at the same time. And the 2016 US elections is a big example for us.
Hmm.
You know, what Trump exactly did. He actually hired a social media campaigning company for a social media campaign. Now, that company actually bought 22.5 million accounts, the data of 22.5 million accounts from Facebook, and then they actually put the artificially intelligent chatbots and the bots into action. And seriously speaking, it's not just 22.5 million Facebook accounts, it's basically 22.5 million voters who had to
Hmm.
cast a vote. Just imagine that one artificial intelligence system is not letting the other competitor come into view, and what exactly would have stopped Trump from becoming the president. And right now, honestly speaking, yes, the states, they are paying a heavy price for having this sort of president, and we should not rather be going into that
Hmm.
discussion. So the question is the freedom being expunged or we are allowing it to? This is the biggest question the species of human beings actually
Hmm.
have to answer. And you know, we are doing it. It's just like handing a key to a thief that, look, take care of my apartment. And when you come back, you don't find your apartment. It's like all empty and the thief actually did its job. So what we are doing when we are putting into clicking the terms of agreements right now with any tech giant, either a social media or an online meeting software or whatnot, what you're doing, you're just giving the key to the thief. Do whatever you like, and I'll be right back. When you come back, you won't find anything there. That's my viewpoint on it. And it's, again, like I said, it's something thought provoking. We should be thinking about it a little more. And that's it.
Hmm. Actually, like these things is these things were already in discussion, but as this during, like you said, during the pandemic, it's all of a sudden from 10 miles per hour to 100 miles per hour, your speed is boosted now. So all of a sudden, so we are this data sharing and big data. So everything is happening. Apart from that, there was one small thing which we didn't discuss. I really want to walk on the thin ice for like, I don't know, for 2 minutes about the religious
Okay.
diagram, which is going to change the whole
Yeah.
concept. So I will a lot of things which I will not say it because they need a lot of explanation, and the small sentences can be taken wrong. But apart from our Muslim world, in every world, we have, although we have noticed that in which direction we want to go now in future, in even in which direction we want to take our religion in future. How much time we want to spend on science and technology, and how much we have to align these both institutes. Although they're supposed to be allies, but somehow they feel like they both are enemies to each other. And
Mhm.
at this time, we are in dire need of a truce between these two institutes, religious institutes and scientific
Right.
institutes, whatever their differences can be. And this truce has to be made, not for now, but also in future too, because somehow about this digital transformation. This digital world is also changing a lot of people who don't have so much knowledge, and they are just following a lot of religious pages and a lot of things which they never counter check what is being shared on, and it is like getting on my nerves sometime that how to ask them to counter check when the other person who is even sharing is also not sure what is happening. And but for example, for any scientific thing, if someone will tell you just eat onions and corona will be cured, there is a counter check by yes, you can go to WHO site, you can go to somewhere where you can exactly, they're like at a certain stage you can say okay, this is somehow a fake news. But when someone is will share you a historical reference or a religious reference, it will not be easy to counter check because back end there is no proper
Yes,
institute which can tell us that okay, this is what you're reading is
yes.
of course it's not about Islam. I'm talking about almost every
Every
religion.
doctrine. If it's
um,
all religion, I think we should rather go for doctrines.
so
Yeah,
so we
please.
have to somehow transform it, and this transformation will also happen digitally now. There are some people who are working, and it can only happen when this religious institute will also teach science along with religious books and stuff. One of the measures which government of Pakistan is taking is making it mandatory for madrasas to teach textbooks. But anyhow, I will not go to in this discussion. I'm talking about after this pandemic, we will come out of two different ages, which I'm also afraid, especially in the country like Pakistan. There'll be half of the people who will be rigid in religious thoughts, because they will see this pandemic really closely. They will encounter death really closely, and they will find just like they will not think of anything else. And there'll be half of the
Right.
people who will be really like drift away from the religion because of the same reason. They will see this pandemic closely,
Yes.
they will encounter this like pandemic closely. So somehow this which I'm already seeing, these people are drifting away like in two extremes. We have to merge them, and some of our intellects like you, and that's why I want to talk to you. We have to you have to take part in this. You have to just
I
pulling
don't.
the strings from both sides to stop people drifting away on both sides, because this extreme is not beneficial for us and for our economy and for our cultural things. So this was our first part, which I really want to conclude. There is a lot to add, but I will just like stop it here because
Yeah, of
second part
course.
is more it's second part is more interesting, which which you was talking before, the AI, the
Yes.
future of AI. When I will open the discussion, and then I will give you, give the mic to you. Um, in this pandemic, all of a sudden, the responsibilities of AI are increased because all of we have to rely on it a lot. You were saying that okay, there is a super intelligence. How to? It's already work. Do you know how your stock exchange is working? Because you are an MBA professional. Actually, stock exchange is not working, not done by brokers anymore. There is an
Yeah.
algorithm. There is
In
there
fact,
is there is an algorithm there now, and it is already controlling world economy. So we are our economy and our is already in hands of an AI. So you don't have to think that it will come after 10 years. We are already our there. I'm a chess
yeah.
player. So being a chess player, I'm following most of the things, like most of the tournaments. And when Google Alpha Zero came up, Google
Yes,
Alpha
I know. I know. I know. I
and
follow.
and now it's like even the stockfish look till stockfish 5 everything was fine. Then when Google Alpha Zero came in, and then this new neuro engines came in, it changed the game. How they're playing, how they're opening, it's like watch the game and you're like how much this thing can calculate. And chess is
Yes,
one of the
there is.
game where you can really you really can see the human versus AI, how they're going face to face. Magnus Carlsen recently, won a game against Alpha Zero somehow, but it was like in the old version or whatever it is. But they said it's the last time someone has won it, and that's it. It's over for us for in this at least a game. So chess is a
Mm-hmm.
strategy game. So somehow I'm not afraid of that AI will take over the world because it will. If they will take over the world, they will take better decision than us. It will be safer in their hand because I'm really optimistic in this thing. If there'll be autonomous
Well,
vehicles, if there will be autonomous vehicles on the road, there will be less accidents. If there will be on data sharing, which we're doing it in going in the Google, Facebook hands, or Trump is using it. If AI is moderating this data, it will be safer than than any human's hand. So
Well, I
somehow.
can understand. Seriously, I was expecting the same thing from an engineer, and seriously, you didn't disappoint me. But when it will be the term of a social scientist, yes, I'm going to pour some light on the things that normally and usually the engineers basically are overlooking. So you just conclude, and then I'll go ahead.
Mhm. So
Yeah.
the question is where we are and where we will be. First, let me explain what is AI. So there is one is called, we say, IT or normal technology. I'm just putting in the normal words, not so much technical words, so everybody understand. So like you're using your smartphone, you're using your computer. It's an IT. It's then there is you have in factories you have robots. Robot is one thing which is uh, made for a definite task, and that's what they're doing perfectly. They are packing stuff, or they are filling up stuff, or they are carrying stuff. Now it comes to AI. So the difference between this and this, and says AI is a line of code which you put it there, which will start learning. So let me see if I will say
I'm
AI.
applying it.
I will say create Hanan Iftihar. So what
Yes,
AI will
sir.
do, AI will all of it. It will he will not know Hanan. I will just give one destination of your Facebook profile, for example.
That's it.
Just imagine. So it will check your picture. It will see where you have shared. It will see your trades, see your like what the books you're reading, the people who you're talking. It will
Well, I'm
keep on
just
learning.
going to stop you here for just for a while. I actually couldn't resist the urge. Now, my question is, it will do a lot of things, but is it allowed to? Will I, in my own capacity as an Anithakar, allow anybody to come and actually encroach? Will I allow anybody to come and share and sell my data to somebody else? I mean, it's just like that somebody straight away came into my room and started asking me, why do you have this picture hung like this?
Mhm,
Why is this table sitting here? Who are
mhm,
you? I'm going to take a look at your wardrobe and what kind of suitings you are putting on. The question is again, that's it. I'll just refer here something. With your permission, Kuram, I'll be taking
mhm,
some time to allow
mhm,
me. But the people who are working on these algorithms,
mhm.
they lack empathy straight away. Please try to understand
Sure,
this. They
it
lack
is.
empathy. You know,
Mhm,
there is a technical side to this whole technology, and then there is a psychological side to this whole technology. And
mhm,
everybody, where anybody who actually built the social media platforms, they built
mhm,
it while keeping the human pathology in mind. They are
mhm,
not actually working for for your time. They just want your attention, and you are paying attention to the social media, and you're sharing a lot of data. Okay,
mhm,
so when it comes to these gains and stocks, and seriously, when we call about this narrow AI, it is in the law itself, it is in the medical science itself. But yes, at least for now, the stock itself doesn't tell me to buy it or not. That's
mhm,
basically API, and for that you have to have a different sort of mindset. Now, question is simple. Question is simple.
mhm,
You talked about a car. Yes, we have an autonomous car. I'm sitting in the car, and there is a truck coming from the left side. Okay, it's coming from the opposite side, a truck, and on the right side, a child actually come.
mhm,
They were just playing, and it comes to the road.
mhm,
Now, if I keep going straight, I
mhm,
have to kill the child. And
mhm,
if I have saved the child, I have to actually bang the car into the to the truck. Now, morality says that even if I would be doing it, I have to pick one from the truck or the child. I'll go for the truck.
mhm,
Okay? Morality and ethics says so. But what if
mhm,
the algorithm of that same car says that it has to protect its owner at any cost, and it believes that banging the car into the truck will have more survival rate for me as an owner
mhm,
instead of banging it into a child.
mhm. So
Okay.
let me
So
explain you.
now,
This is actually
now
I
here's the question.
So
Yeah,
actually, this
that's my.
question, I think you asked the right person because as I have masters in intelligent transport systems, and this is the issue which we faced, and it's an ethical dilemma. And if you read it through, like I will suggest you just suggest one thing called trolley problem, and it might help you
Yes,
in
yes,
this
yes,
thing.
yes.
But
I was about to refer to it, but I just rather went for the lighter one for
so
our viewers to understand.
somehow let me explain you how this question was answered before going for autonomous vehicle, and let me tell you how human mind works. If you're going in a 80 kilometer per hour and there's a truck and there's a child, until your mind will take a decision, until your mind
Mhm.
will take a decision and go to your cognitive brain to think this ethical drama, this whole thing will be over. So what mostly happens, what driver does, they just wrap around if it can hit the car and hit the child. So in the history, if it's hitting the truck, we justify the action that he just saved the child. If hitting
Okay.
the child, we say we justify. So most of the time these actions are not taken deliberately because our mind cannot take these decisions so rapidly in this stressful situation when all our senses are working. And what do you think, if you are driving the car, how precisely you can calculate that can I save the child and myself? You cannot
I
calculate
just
this.
let me just bring one thing here because now we are not talking about technique, the machines anymore. We are going to talk about this brain. Okay, we have this adrenaline that hits us when we are in a
Exactly.
position of fight or flight, aren't we? Yes.
Exactly. Mhm.
And what adrenaline does it basically on a very immediate basis focuses the whole operations of the brain on a particular task to say when it is a matter of survival because
Mhm.
it's flight or fight. Okay,
Exactly. Mhm.
so on neurological level, expect
Mhm.
me to take a decision because we are talking about a machine that is like has a processing speed of trillions of gigahertz. Okay,
Exactly.
maybe something else. So it's
Mhm.
not just basically me and you talking about it in theoretical terms. It's basically absolutely happening. And then
um
when it comes to autonomous vehicles, we have these
let me
five
let
levels.
me
Yeah.
finish this. Like I was coming to
So
this. Let me finish the solution of that,
yeah.
which I was discussing it, like question of your answer. So I'm driving the car. So
Mhm.
this compatibility thing, if you might have heard. So let's imagine that you're having a processing power. You have a computer with amazing processing power, with a screen which doesn't have a good resolution, with a speaker which doesn't have compatibility is main of one of the things. So at this time, me and this car, we are one. My
Yeah.
processing power is could be so much. The car's reaction time and with all the forces involved. So imagine if I am driving the car, even I can only take the decision to make the steering this or this. This is the only decision I can take with my adrenaline rush, with my everything, just to move the steering. I cannot calculate the drift. Who knows I will hit the truck and hit the child again. Who knows I will not be able to save anything. Who knows I will get more damage.
Okay,
But when it will
just
come
on
to
a
machine.
humorous note here, Khurram, I just have to stop here. Just on a humorous note, while the Tesla was working on its autonomous car, they considered rickshaws. Did they
Mhm.
consider the 70s? Did they even consider the roads in Pakistan? You know what? That whole technology can go down the drain within hardly a split second here in
No,
this scenario.
let me. I will come to there. So let me. I have the answer for that because we are working on it. I'm the one. Like we are working on it. So first,
Okay.
let me complete that answer. So
Okay.
machine can calculate easily. Okay. So what is the chance of survival of the child? What is the chance of survival of me? And what is the chance of survival all of us? So
Right.
if you program it in this way, that has the best survival chance. So imagine if I'll say child has a less survival chance, me has a more survival chance, save me, or we both have less survival chance, truck driver has more survival chance, save him, or so it's like this calculation will happen because it will calculate the speed of the car, weather conditions, because it will be in and data will all continuously be upgrading, speed of the truck which is coming on the other side, the brakes and friction and everything, and in this way, if you simulate this whole scenario, what human will do, this or this, that's all we can do. Okay, this is all our this thing.
All right.
without any calculation, which can hurt me and child both, which can we might be killing both. Even this, and so in this
Yeah.
ethical dilemma, we will be safe in machine's hand. Then while talking about this rickshaw and the bicycle 70s you talked about, so it can only happen when there will be V2V and V2I infrastructure. So when there
Exactly.
will be a vehicle to vehicle, or everything will be intelligent, then we'll come to autonomous vehicles. You might be driving Mehran before. Now you have your safety bags there. Now slowly you are driving automatic vehicle. Your gearbox is gone. Your clutch is gone.
Okay.
Slowly you are
Sriram,
having
I'll
cruise
have to
control.
stop you again. I will have to interrupt you again with your apology. I'm doing it again and again. My question still stands there. There are three things to this whole scenario: technology, data, and humanics. All
Mhm,
right? And humanics. In Pakistan, this new version of Honda Civic, the
mhm,
people who could afford this car, I was told by one of my mechanics that most of the people who actually had this car, they bought this car, they had the money to buy it, they didn't know how exactly the parking brake works. You know,
mhm.
it won't come as
No,
a surprise to you. You have been into Pakistan, of course,
I
but somebody just tell the same to any colleague of yours from Austria and ask them how do they view it. Now, secondly, my second question, by the way, second question to you is
mhm,
this: that we have this technological development going on. That's
mhm,
good, pretty good. An engineer would talk like that, but here on the other side of this whole glass, you have got a social scientist, somebody who's basically got human resources on his background, and he's
mhm.
more concerned about the human behavior, okay, and especially on the psychological context. Now, my question again is: don't you think that it's not just about the technology? We are going talking about vehicle to vehicle. What about the vehicle to human beings? And
Mhm.
how exactly is this whole system going to predict? And yes, I know the algorithms have the capability. It just takes 10 clicks to Facebook to know more than my colleague about me, 50 to know more than my whole family, and 150 to know more than myself. Just
Mhm.
imagine. This is
Let
their capability. They're on a very narrow level. So where exactly the humanics come into play? That's my whole
Exactly.
question.
Okay, so let's start with the one thing. First of all, um, it's not going to happen today. Okay. So secondly is it will take time when you start learning. Like when we started moving from horses to bikes, this same dilemma came up. People start asking the same question. When from bikes to car, we same questions came up. When we decided we will use buses and we will start train, people start asking same question. In Austria and Europe, the tram is moving. The no, tram is in the middle of the road when the cars are moving and tram is driving too, like a small train. You can't imagine
And
driving it in Pakistan, like in the middle of the road. So when we'll learn, so slowly, it's not that all of a sudden there will be autonomous vehicle like dumped into Pakistan and they start driving. The infrastructure will
well,
be developed. The people will be developed. One of the example you are having a real.
I mean, I would just relate it to that religious question of yours. I'm not going to go in detail, but I just want you to recall it again and
Mhm,
now talk
mhm,
about it. We are talking about the people who have nothing to do with critical thinking. All right.
mhm,
Number one, we are talking about the people who lack empathy at all particular levels. Number
mhm,
two, we are talking about the people who are not tech savvy. I didn't think that somebody's got. I personally have got a certification in AI. I've got a certification. I'm pursuing a certification in data science myself. Two of
mhm,
the courses have been completed. Four of the courses are about to complete. Within like 3 months, I'll be a hardcore data scientist. All right.
mhm.
Maybe there will be a big job for me, but no, that is not basically what I'm doing it for. I just want to know how the system works. But how many people are going to think about it? Problem with my country and my countrymen right now is here, my friend, that you are sitting in a society which is built of gods, in the words of Yuval Noah Harari. And I'm in the society which is already built of chimps. This worries me.
So
This
there'll
literally
be they'll be most of them slaves. So as we are transforming into digital world, so there'll be all the money will be here, all the technology will be here. We will keep our religious beliefs, we'll keep our cultural beliefs, and will remain there until unless
will be a burden on digital economy, because when I'm talking about digital economy, I'm not just talking about a country's economy. I'm talking about global
global
digital
economy.
economy.
No, it will not be burden. It will
Going to just
uh,
go in hell, yeah.
look. it will be a lab for scientists. Look, I'm really pessimist about it. About our, because my country is divided into two things. One is really optimistic approach, like there is chunk of people who are really awesome, who are going on, and then 90% of the people who are, including a lot of my family members and stuff like that. It's really hard to explain to them how this thing will work. So what will happen eventually? Um, you've already seen in this pandemic situation how these are handling, how we are handling. We have to enforce. Our police has to stay on the roads with bamboo sticks and tell people to stay home, and
You
all
would
the
have seen the videos basically. You would have seen the videos how they are treating and what they actually
and
have to
how
do.
and all these governments just have to say there is a pandemic, stay home, and everyone is staying
And
home. And
everybody does.
they said, okay, don't go to office, no one goes to office. So this thing is behaviorally. So I will give you a small example, which before, like 10 years ago, all this TV and recordings was haram. I don't know how they were halal now. So these are the things which are um,
Good
which
question.
which will be transformed. So it's good that they're halal now. So soon, slowly, religion will be transformed to things will be accepted. Things will be slowly. You remember before 30 years, wearing a jeans was tough. Now still, if a girl is wearing jeans is tough, but still it's getting slowly acceptable and stuff like this. I'm talking about these small social and religious stuff because in our culture it's really mixed. These dilemmas are mixed. So coming to AI, when AI will come, when AI will
To give
come to just one second, I'll finish in 2 minutes. When AI
yeah,
will come to our country, it will be not a mess. It will be really easy because like this pandemic, it will come from west to east. It will already know, for example, our banks. First of all, your bank will be automized. Secondly, slowly your airlines are already automized. Thirdly, might be your train system will be automized. So this autonomous vehicle will be the last stage. So slowly everything, your land records, your how your Nadra or your passport system works, how you log the CN. So I'm thinking at the end of the day, this because what you are thinking is the last stage, the autonomous vehicle. Slowly, people were getting used to it, and people still. And the only thing is, might be it will take 100 years back home, and here it will take 30 years. So slowly, you cannot stop it, and you have to pay some price, and the price is your freedom, which you said before. If you don't share the data with it, this is the price you have to pay, and you can stop anytime, obviously, but someone will not stop, and that will, like China,
yeah,
they will
exactly
take it
right.
away. So, like Europe, already you say Europe is really far behind in the field of AI. I was lucky enough to be in United Nations, and we were having this discussion there, and we realized that because of all this, freedom of speech and all these human rights, we couldn't share data, and all of a sudden we realized, God, we are behind. So even now we share data, we are far behind. We're not doing anything in AI. So at
One
the end of
thing
the
that
day,
I would like
hmm,
to add to it, one more thing that look, uh, there are like nine major companies who are actually handling and who are actually what I would call that shepherding this whole AI affair. Three of the companies are from China and six of the companies are from USA. And you won't find a single remarkable company or initiative in Europe that actually could do anything. Now, the problem here is those six companies in USA basically are not working hand in hand with the government. They are rather a corporate giant, and on top of that, when they have the access to data, even their governments would be actually depending on them. However, there is a huge contrast in West and in USA and China when it comes to this. The companies, the three major companies, that is Baidu, Tencent, and Alibaba, of course. All these three companies are working for the government, for the government. They're not working apart from the government. This is something very important to realize. They're working for the government. Okay, the government has got shares in there. And yes, this is the reality. You can't set up a company in China if the 10% of the shares at least don't go to the Chinese Communist Party. Pakistan has an edge in this context because whichever heaven the China wants to go with their Belt and Road Initiative. Pakistan is the gateway to the initiation of the project, and China will never ever let Pakistan fall. But what I fear is, it's not just that we'd be left with the people who couldn't do anything. Actually, somebody, like you said, that just actually scary fact. Somebody is going to come and do something about them. So what we are doing, we have got a total population of 222 million right now. Okay, 22 million, 222 million. We might probably be left with 100. Then what? And honestly speaking, I'm expecting if it goes to the intellectual level in the new technology, we might probably be left on 10 million. That's it. And seriously, the guy who is investing in us is ruthless. He's absolutely ruthless. You're still with me, Khurram? Hello?
Sorry, my microphone was muted. I'm listening to you. Yeah, I
No
muted
problem
my
at all.
microphone because of this.
Somehow, we're talking about a big giant who's got a technological edge and it's way ahead of the whole world. But despite being in their shadow, the problem is that they will expect us to behave in the same way that they've expected. You know how exactly they managed to curtail this whole pandemic in a couple of months' time? You just answered the question in the beginning. They are an aristocratic society. You cannot even dream going against the government. And you know what? They don't tell people. They just tell them once, stay in the room, and the next time if somebody's roaming in the streets, there is going to be a bullet or probably something else. I don't know. The person won't be there anymore. You know it. I know it. Mm-hmm. And yes, I think I should be audacious enough to do that. That's how they managed it. And in the same context, this is basically why the West is suffering on the hands of pandemic, because of the sense of freedom, the liberty that capitalism brought to them for them to actually spend when they wanted to. Now they want to go out and spend, and they have money, but they can't spend it. And then we actually got addicted to spending, and we got addicted to social media itself. They have a check on the social media. They have WeChat, no WhatsApp. They have got Baidu, no Google. Okay, and you know it's not an easy job actually to use Baidu outside China. It's very difficult. The whole website is messed up. You can't just do anything about it. Okay, it's so well guarded. And Kai-Fu Lee is a big name when it comes to Google. Okay, it's a big name. He's a big name when it comes to artificial intelligence. That guy's sitting in China now, and he's working for China. We are talking about the guy who actually started the Google China initiative. Now he's with China, and there are scores of scientists who were working for the Western countries, the companies like Google and Amazon and whatnot, for years, for decades rather. They're back in China. Okay, so what I fear is we may see a Pakistan, but with very few Pakistanis. And seriously speaking, it's not going to take long. It has already started taking it. This pandemic has actually skipped a decade in the history of human species.
Exactly.
The changes that had to actually come by 2030, in a blink of an eye, have just come right now. You couldn't just imagine staying back at home and making the same amount of money without even just going outside your home. The whole offices are virtual. The cloud is working over there. So where it actually live, we don't know. And seriously,
we are handcuffed.
I fear for it. Yeah.
So I think it's we already taken
I reckon
like 1 hour.
A lot concluding word from you, please, and then we can just have another episode a little later. So last final words from you.
So I will just say that we have to be prepared. We are in a state of war against ourselves. And it's time to get prepared. Like you said, you're getting certifications. I was telling my brothers, everyone, it's time to equip yourself with the tools you need. And as the world changes, and it's not gonna be same ever like 2019. It's over. It has changed. Let's prepare ourselves how much you can and wherever you want to. So get ready for this new time. Time is not going to be easy, especially for those who will just relax and think that, okay, things will be fine. No, things are not going to be fine. I'm not pessimist. I'm realistic. Things are not going to be same. It's over what you had it before. Um, Being like a Pakistani and being an engineer, I will say lace up. Like you said, we have already skipped a decade, so you have to cover a decade in 1 month. This 1 month of quarantine is like when you come out of quarantine, I don't know, 3 4 months or whenever, you have to be ready and equipped with whatever knowledge you can gain. Get to know this digital world, enter in it, at least if you not become, if you don't, if you cannot become an expert, at least get familiar with it. It's really important
Yeah.
for all of us. So whatever thing we discussed is just like a history, but in reality, the situation like 2019 will is not coming back. It's over. So
Okay.
this is all
Same.
from me.
Yes. Thank you very much, Karam. And curiously, it was wonderful to speak to somebody with the knowledge like you have. And yes, I reckon that when we show this video, both of us in our own communities, the people that you show would come across to know what basically what's happening back you basically belong to, and the people that I show it to would come to know that somebody who's actually in an advanced environment in a place and how exactly they're planning the future so that they could actually think on the same terms. So, yep, I think it was a wonderful and very fruitful
Same
discussion.
here.
And I suggest that we should keep on having these sort of discussions, at least like once or twice a month. We should have it. We need to have it. I mean, it allowed me to open myself to somebody who really understands. What I'm doing right now is that I'm converting everything from English to Urdu in my
Mhm,
country and trying to actually tell it to the people. But
mhm,
yes, you can understand. It's basically the verbal bias, I would call the literary bias when it comes to these sort
mhm,
of technologies. That those who actually invented them are basically from the background of English language. Their first language is English. Your whole coding is going on that particular language, so it's kind of a difficult task for a
mhm.
person like me to convert it into my native language and then communicate it to people. Those even who are not even intellectually ready. So that's it from my side as well, Kuram, and a big hello to anybody who's watching it from your side. And that's it for
Same
now.
here. So thank you. Talk to you later. Bye bye.
Same here, mate. Cheers. Bye.